What's up, my guys? We are back in line once again. Tiggy Nation just told me episode 32. We're back with episode 32. It's kind of crazy. This is more of a dad podcast, laid back podcast. Kind of just do it when we can. And it's crazy we've been doing it this long already. So I'm super pumped to be here. Before I toss it over to the boys, I just want to start off with this. You know, I was doing some reflection on life, which I tend to do from time to time. And I was just thinking about this right here, what we're doing uh, while we're on air and while we're off air, before we start and after we're done. Uh, this has been a great time in my life. And you guys have really made a lot of times easier throughout my 20s. And I love you guys. And it's awesome that we're still doing it. Obviously, not as heavy as we used to. We all thought we were going to be Barstool Sports' next thing, but we could have been. I don't know, but even that, we're still doing it. I truly love this, and you guys, you made my life a lot easier sometimes in the 20s. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, getting all sentimental and emotional here early on in the pod. I mean, I thought we were getting a JT retirement speech there.
No,
like John Cena earlier this
Me
week.
No.
fucking too, dude.
No,
I really
none of
thought.
that.
I was like, is this
Nope.
it? Is this the
No.
last episode we're ever doing?
Nope, that was not what that was at all. I just thought wanted to give you guys some kudos.
I think what you said is very valid. Obviously, I wouldn't invalidate it ever, but yeah, I think just talking with your boys and like your friends and like family from back home, just helps keep a lot of positive motivation and thoughts like at the top of your head. You know what I mean? And doesn't get crushed by the general hurdles of everyday life. And because I mean, like we all have friends all over the country, all over the world, and guys or girls who we thought we'd always be in contact with. They'd always be so close, and we'd always be talking every day and stuff. And that's just not life. But the fact that we're able to convene every week or every other week, and just chop it up for an hour and kind of catch up is just worth it. You know what I mean? Obviously it's a little bit of work to do this, but like it's just worth it in general to like, help our lives in that way.
Sure.
Like it's just worth it no matter what. Like we're already winning. So
For sure.
Really cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, honestly, I think that's one of the toughest realizations of becoming a grown-up, an adult. You always kind of, to piggyback off what Tiggy Nation just said, you always think that you're always going to be in contact with all of your best friends, acquaintances, however you want to put it. And I really think that's the most tricky challenge of life, is because it's not so much you don't want to, and it's not so much that you purposely don't. It's just that life gets so busy and so hectic that, it's those connections kind of dwindle organically, even if you don't want them to. And that's why I really do appreciate this. And I appreciate that I'm able to show my tan from the beach from this angle. I am a tan god right now, so it's just good to be back, boys. Obviously, everybody knows this is one of my favorite things to do, but I will say, we had a hell of a run early on, dude. There was a thought early on when we were crushing the first like 2 or 3 years before everybody like all over the world hopped on the train. It was a great feeling, and it's one feeling that I'll honestly cherish forever, because we were on a hell of a run, and I won't ever let anybody take that away from us.
Yep, I do agree.
Absolutely.
Great times, but even greater times ahead, I will say.
Absolutely.
But speaking of the beach, Jake, how was the beach? Are you peeling at all? Because I am.
So the only thing peeling right now is my nose. I've been still crushing the lotion with the aloe and little cocoa butter magic mix. I've been putting that on at least once a day. The problem that I'm running into now is like it's just so disgustingly hot. It's so hard to sit outside when there's not an
Right.
ocean and a breeze.
Yeah.
And so I'm worried that my tan's going to dwindle quickly. Luckily, I am going back towards the beach towards the end of this month. So I will at least have 1 or 2 more beach days to hopefully add on to this tan. But trust me, I feel the peeling coming.
Yeah.
My forehead's starting to get there. Yeah, not fun.
Yeah. My face is fine. It's more so my legs and like my belly is starting to itch now. Um, I will give us some props for a couple things. One, none of us got burnt like like one of us always would. And two, no one went overboard on the drinking. It was a very low key, chill week, and it was very nice, very calm. Just hung out, drank some a little bit, but nothing crazy. And that's what I call growth.
I agree. I loved it. Now again, this isn't saying that we didn't drink, but it was nice to drink 6 or 7 beverages over a 5-6 hour span sitting on the beach and not just feeling absolutely trashed and wrecked. And I know it sounds funny, and like, I know I'm not saying I won't ever do it again. I'm not saying I won't ever get super drunk, but like, I really don't miss those days. And
No,
in
I
all
don't
honesty,
right.
you know what I mean? Like,
I do, yeah.
I don't miss the shots days. I don't miss the going out on Friday night and Saturday night and drinking till 2 in the morning days, which is crazy to say. But I don't miss it. So I do commend us on not being degens when we didn't have to be.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Hell yeah. What
Yeah.
what do you guys do? Like, do you guys play any games at the beach? Like any bocce ball or anything? Like, you guys bring stuff or?
All we did this year was Jake got this beach cornhole, which it was like really cool. I like very easy to set up. Came in a really little bag, and you just kind of put the boards together. But the board part of like the normal cornhole was kind of like a trampoline.
Mm-hmm.
So the strategy was a little different, but that was all we did. We played some board games back at the house in the evening. But a lot of the time, man, we were just getting crushed by waves, just out in the ocean, just riding the gnar, full
Hell
body,
yeah.
which was really good. The waves were really nice this year. A lot of surfer bros out, so we kind of just enjoyed that and just kind of watched them, So that was cool. But yeah, I think game wise, that's all we really played.
Nice. Very cool. I know everyone's kind of different. Like, I enjoy always having something to do. Like, we went out to the bar, it was 2 weeks ago, and they have like an outdoor section out back where they sometimes have live music and stuff, but the indoor is great. Like, indoor is so packed. They got pool tables. It's like a loud DJ. You can't talk or anything. So it's like, we knew we were going out back, and I was like, yo, stop at Dollar General here. And they're like, what do you want? I'm like, let's get some Uno or something, Like, I just want to do something. Like, I want to have some sort of activity. Not that I'm opposed to just talking, but I think conversation can just flow freely if it's not required 100% of the time,
That's a really good point.
I do have a hot take, though. I have a hot take. This is not going to be a take that people are going to like, but I'm here to cause havoc. I can't stand bringing games to the beach, and let me tell you why. Because you lug everything down, you take everything there, and you never fucking play them. We brought cornhole down. We brought this beer pong game down. We set up those cornhole boards, and we played one time.
We did. We played one round.
Time. Now, again, this isn't talking about playing games in the evening and those types of situations like you're talking about. The card games, the board games. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about specifically on the sand, ass in chair, feet in water. I'm going to be the guy that says music. Exactly. I'm going to be the guy that says you don't need games on the beach. But
no, I don't disagree. I don't. I feel everyone's different too, but like I kind of feel the same. Like if I But we got a speaker, you know, we got our chairs. There's waves, and I can like go fuck around in the sand trying to find shells or whatever. I think I'm pretty good. What I am a lot these days, which is nothing groundbreaking, I think it's just my adult life seeing. Well, shout out Jake. He drove everywhere, so I can't even say that. But when you're an adult, you got to drive places, and when you're a kid, you just don't care. You're just like, oh, well, my dad's driving. I'm all about walkability, being able to walk places, and we were in a really good spot. Could walk to a couple restaurants, few ice cream places, coffee shops. I'm all about that. So I loved that. Took the dogs on some morning beach walks. They enjoyed it. They got crushed by it. When I say crushed, I mean they're little dogs, but they got hit by a wave, which was funny to see. Because Hazel hates water and Teddy's never been on the beach. So that was really cool. Just, it was just overall good time. We got to watch fireworks on 4th of July, which was freaking sweet. So it was just a really nice, relaxing, good time vacation,
Nice. I like that. I want to piggyback on Jake's no games. I think that's I don't think that's that hot of a take. Well, while it might be hot, it might be more correct than most, because the beach, I'm past the age to be bringing a case to the beach and just gonna absolutely blitz out of your mind. Like you guys are talking about, you guys are just having a nice mellow good time. Speaker, you're hanging out in the water, you're in and out, and half the time you just want to sit there, listen to the tunes, watch the water, drink beer, and that's really it, or seltzer or whatever. I do like having something, whether that be like a football or tennis ball or soccer ball, you can like kick or throw for like 10 minutes, and then you're back to doing nothing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that one is extremely fair. But no, I guess it might just be like the dad and me without kids coming out, knowing that like we have to carry all the stuff down and we have to drive everywhere and we have to do this. It does bring a different kind of thought process to the beach. But what I will say about what JT said is we were out there getting absolutely crushed by waves. And there was about 3 minutes, Tiggy Nation, where this podcast might have ceased to exist. Because the boys got out there pretty far. There was one day. Oh
God, yeah.
It was one day when the waves were waving, like big time. Like surfers were there probably from 5 a.m. to when we would leave and afterwards. And there was about, I'm going to be generous here, there was about a 3-minute period where I was panicking, but I had to stay calm. But I was too far out to where I couldn't swim against the current, and the waves weren't coming in that were pushing me back to the beach. And I looked at JT. I could see it in his eyes.
I got stuck too, yeah.
I looked at Sid. I could see it in his eyes. And I'm telling you what, man, there was about a 3 to 4 minute span where I thought I was a goner, dude. It was scary.
Jeez.
Yeah. I got stuck for a second too. And then so I saw Jake got stuck, and then I was stuck. So, but at that point, I was like, I gotta just get myself unstuck, or we're both gonna die. So I just kind of got myself unstuck, and then just kind of stood there and just talked with Jake until he got unstuck. It was fine. But those little things are always a little nerve-wracking in the ocean, like if the current's got you and you can't really move.
Yeah.
And we were in the part where Jake said, like, the waves, you're just going up and down. Like we were just out far enough to where they weren't like taking us in, like we weren't able to ride it. We were just kind of up and down, and the current was strong, and we were just like, oh fudge.
Yeah, the only saving grace was there were surfers out way further than us, so somebody would have been out there to help. But
yeah. There were plenty of people around, but
that's tough though. I mean, the ocean's a big bad world in itself, and like I can only imagine, because I feel like I've never been out that far, like had that situation, but like anyone could, and as soon as you don't have control, panic sets in, and that's a good there's a good Seinfeld joke in there of like panic. Like you can blame anything. It's like I panicked. That's why I did that. You know. So, but I'm happy you guys are all right on the brighter side. And yeah, glad the panic was short and sweet, and you guys got unstuck.
Yeah. Yeah, well, enough about our trip. Beach was great. Had a great time. We'll be back as always. Let's dive into some HOTD.
Okay.
I don't think this would be 2 episodes that we have to touch on really now.
3, 4.
3 and 4. Yeah. So what'd you guys think? Let's just say the last, 4, the one that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
I want Tiggy Nation to go first because, I mean, after what we saw at the end of 3, he has some apologizing to do about his queen that he loves and cherishes and everything. So, Tiggy Nation, let me hear what you have to say.
See, episode 3.
Yeah, when Rhaenyra is sitting there with Alicent, and Alicent basically admits, like, I fucked up, but this war's not going to end because I'm dumb and didn't realize that my dying husband was talking about a story and not real life. Thoughts?
I mean, thoughts is it's not her fault. She misunderstood. She has a son named Aegon. The true crime is naming every other third child Aegon or Viserys or Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, like Daemon, Aemon. Like, they all rhyme. They all start with like the same 4 letters. And, if one Aegon was that great, we don't need a second one. It's insane. So that's tough. And common misconception, common misunderstanding. Hey, I have a firstborn son named Aegon. Aegon's supposed to be king. Makes sense. I'll make sure our son is king. And honestly, so that's my defense for episode 3. Just miscommunication. And she lost her hand. She's got no hand. The High Towers have 0 hand in it anymore. Now we see episode 4. She's not even attending any of the meetings due to other reasons, but she's not even attending any of the meetings. She's got nothing to say.
It is cool that she dropped a Rhaenyra quote to Rhaenyra. That part was fucking awesome.
Wait, whoa. What was it? What did she say?
Tiggy. I can't remember the verbatim of it, but I know it was quoted.
The line was, I swear on my mother. I swear on my mother's life or the memory of my mother. Right? It was like, right. I swear it on the memory of my mother. And that's what Rhaenyra said when Rhaenyra was denying going to the brothel with Daemon and sleeping with him. So we get to see that parallel. We also got to see a parallel in episode 4 when she's taken the plan BT, which also Rhaenyra took after Sir Criston Cole.
Right.
Forgot about that. That's pretty cool.
So we're seeing a lot of parallels. And it's funny enough because Sir Criston Cole and Alicent are both, in love with Rhaenyra. So,
but legit.
That's kind of funny. But I will say the Greens right now, they're kicking fucking ass. And they might be in the most powerful position they've ever been in right now.
Yeah. I will say this. I'm going to be honest. Right now, I think Aegon and Rhaenyra both kind of suck right now. I think all the leaders are kind of everyone's being asked, which I think that's what they really dove into this season is like everyone's weaknesses and shit, which I think is really cool. Like we talked about this already, Jake. Like they've really humanized each character, which I think is really cool. But I think all the ones fighting for power all kind of suck. Like the Targaryens kind of suck right now. Daemon's being ass. Rhaenyra's like ass all the time. Like she's always gone or whatever. Aegon's just the frat boy Aegon. Aemon just tries to kill his brother out in the freaking open for everyone to see. And I'm like, low key, the Targaryens suck right now. I like Jace and Baela. I want them to go do some shit. I know they're probably going to die. I think Corlys's bastards are going to be cool characters, both of them. Excited to see more of them. And to be honest, I fell in love with the Stark dude, and he's been in the show for 5 minutes.
Okay, well, I think it's been confirmed he's never coming back. So
yeah. So, but I like his character, but the Targaryens I think are all being asked right now. The only Targaryen I don't hate, like they're good characters, but I mean kind of is the weird sister. Helena. I feel for her. All the other ones kind of suck right now. But yeah, that's my take.
So my big
thing,
my big thing is, one, I'm bummed that probably the best Targaryen in terms of standing right now is gone.
She was the best one. Yep.
She was the best one. So I'm happy you said what you said about Corlys's bastards, because Rhaenys, I'm pretty sure, insinuated in episode 4, like, I know who he is.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
said that to Corlys. Do we think that's why Rhaenys was like going on the suicide mission?
Yeah. See, I read a few things where she's there with Meleys, who is really like her only love anymore. Well, she loved Corlys, but he betrayed her. So Meleys is like her, her true love. And I think she's flying away, and she realizes, what am I even flying back to? Like, let's just throw it out there and try to win. And she kind of just was willing to die with Meleys, which I thought was a very cool sentiment, because I think it was more than just, oh, we're fighting. Like, I think she realized, I'm with Meleys. Like, what else am I going back to? My husband has been cheating on me forever. All my kids are dead. Like,
okay, so that was my thought process on it too. That's kind of how, after like watching it, pondering on it, thinking about it, I kind of think that that's right. She's like, my kids are gone. One of my nieces just got sent away. The other one's with Rhaenyra all the time. I now just learned that my husband, who I'm madly in love with, because they were besties, bro. They were like one of the best couples in the show. Like, you could tell they were very tight knit. You also realize that in the opening of that scene that, like, I believe she probably heard before or assumed that Corlys had bastards or other children, but all it took was her to look at the dude once and touch his face and realize that, okay, that is one of his bastards. Whether she was trying to do it or not, it made it seem like that was the first time ever that you know how, like, when you have thoughts and you put them in the back of your head and you're like, okay, they're there, but I don't want to believe they're there until I see this or read something. She did a good job of, like, portraying on her face that, like, okay, I didn't want to believe this, but now I finally believe this. And I thought that was awesome.
She got the validation. Of the thought that was always there. I agree, and I think that's a cool thought that Rhaenys was like, hey, it's kind of falling apart for me right now. I'm kind of a little lost. I wanted to bring up another possible thought that a lot of people were bringing up relations to, like, kind of like a parallel with her and Kat from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Whereas she's like, you shouldn't try to hide your son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Kat was like, I don't want to see you ever again, and kind of sends him away to the wall, Jon Snow. What if, because this son is fucking old, is probably older than Rhaenys' children. So Corlys may have had this son before even being with Rhaenys. That's potential. I don't know. I'm sure book readers know. I'm sure we could Google and see.
Well, I'll tell you what the book readers know.
Please do, because this is an aspect of the story that I did not realize was going to.
So here's the difference between the show and what's actually happening. Here's the difference between the show and the books.
Yep.
These bastards of Corlys's in the books are Laenor's bastards.
What?
But it can't be true because they're so old. Like, they're like Laenor's age in the show.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, this guy looks like 35.
Yeah. So, like, well, one, I love how we all just kind of let it be what it is. But the aging in this show is crazy. Like, how some have aged and others have not. Daemon hasn't aged a day. Mm-hmm. Neither has Sir Criston Cole. But it's fine. But which leads us to a lot of questions, because the one brother that has the dreads, just like Corlys, who's only been in it for a little bit, if you picked up on, which I just pick up on more stuff because of TikTok, he was out on the beach or whatever, and the dragon flew over him. And that dragon is Sea Smoke, which was Laenor's dragon.
Hmm.
And they're saying, oh, like Sea Smoke is claiming this guy, like as his next person. But I'm like, I thought only Targaryen blood could fly dragons. So it's like, that's a weird thing, you know?
Yeah,
That-
and also too, it does the brother with the dreads insinuates that they know Corlys is his dad because he makes the comment when they first introduce him that he owes us or whatever. And you can say like he owes him from saving him. I don't think that's what they're talking about. And I wonder, it also makes me wonder if Corlys has another family that we're going to get introduced to from these two, because if they know their brothers, we have to assume that their mother is the same, which I don't know. Like it's tough to dive into, but I get the Sea Smoke thing. That is interesting that like they didn't have to put that in there, and you know everything does have a reason of why they do things on this show. So I guess the one part that's kind of confusing me, and not really confusing, but what I keep reading is that this show is like not going along with what the books really have at all. It kind of seems like they're doing their own thing.
Yeah, I have seen that a little bit. Like a lot of book readers are coming out and like they were mad that the beheading of Jaehaerys wasn't on screen as gruesome and stuff, and like it seems like they're going with the loose outline of the book and they're adding new things. And I think book readers should enjoy that because it's like, hey, this is something we haven't seen yet. It's like,
right. Yeah, I agree. Because it's like, you read the book, and I get adaptations on books, but it's like, you know everything that's going to happen now. So like, you're seeing it come to life, but it's also, now it's giving you a whole new kind of story.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah.
And you can just be like, hey, this happened different in the book. It's kind of cool how they did it, and it might work better. I always bring up Twilight. Have you guys seen the Twilights or read the Twilights?
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Have you guys read the Twilights?
Hell no, dude.
Nope.
So at the last scene in Breaking Dawn or Breaking Moon, whatever the part 2, the last one, whenever there's that big fight.
Yeah.
And then they look in Alice's eyes, who can like see the future and everything. And that's what it was the whole time. It wasn't the actual fight.
Yeah.
I guess in the book, that fight actually ensues. And there's no looking at Alice's eyes.
Oh.
And so everyone who watched the movie assumed, and so that was like a crazy ending for the people that only read the books and were watching the movie for the first time. They're like, oh my God. Like that kind of put a little twist on it at the end for even the book readers, for something for them to be surprised and something new for them. And like, hey, what if this could have been an alternate ending, you know? And
yeah, that's interesting because of course, like I'm still kind of confused about Aegon. I don't know if Aegon's alive. I don't know if
not
Aegon's dead, but it looks like he's probably going to be paralyzed. But when I Googled it on how Aegon dies,
oh no,
I'm not going to say it because I did it on accident, and the answer was the book answer. So I don't want to say anything because I do want. Hold on, dude. I'm getting a call from Chris. Let's see if she wants to say something.
You're good.
Hey, we're live right now. You want to say hi?
Oh my God.
Dude, what's your thoughts on this latest episode of House of the Dragon? And then I'll call you back. That's what we're talking about.
It was crazy.
Oh, that's very good insight. All right, I'll call you back. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it's crazy to think that if it's basically Aemon's the king now. If Aegon can't operate or Aegon has to appoint somebody, he's going to say Aemon, and then now we have the two dudes in Aegon's camp that are actively trying to insinuate and make this war violent, really be in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be dead.
Yeah, I saw.
But has he really been in charge anyway?
Well, from this past episode, I would say
Yeah.
not really. It seemed like
Yeah.
the past couple episodes they've been showing him kind of lose hold of everything, and he's been struggling with that clearly. And all he wants is some sort of vindication or validation or love in general, even from his mom. And Allison's about had it. You know what I mean? It's like, we just need you to fucking be there, okay? Like, kind of like, you already kicked out the people that put you there. You've shoved them away. All we ever needed you was to be you. And just sit there, and the stronger and smarter minds will take care of it. Like, that's all that needed to happen. And obviously he didn't want to hear that. You know, he wanted some sort of help to get him some hold on his life, a little bit of hold on some actual free will of his. And he's being told to not do anything. I think I saw there were a lot of people saying they showed the book, and it was like an egg on lays with Sunfire, and basically Aegon's like half of his body is burned, I think, but he's still living. So yeah, like we're either gonna see, like, I think JT mentioned like in a coma or like at bed rest, and he's not gonna be able to serve. But honestly, I think that works very heavily in the favor of the Greens, because now they have Aemond, who, you know, Aemond is Aemond, and we all know what he is, to quote Allison. And yeah, him and Kristen Cole. But I think last week shocked Kristen Cole, because Sir Kristen Cole saw it. I feel like Sir Kristen Cole, you guys mentioned how everyone saw it. I think Sir Kristen Cole was going to be the only one that realized that Aemond intentionally like shot through his brother, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone else is, you know, too common to probably put the pieces together and be like, oh my God, Aemond just tried to kill the king. They probably thought Aemond was just trying to help, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So Sir Kristen Cole knows. Yeah.
Did you also catch, which I feel like when Kristen Cole got knocked out or whatever, and then he woke up, he lost control, it felt like, of his army. And it was Gawain, that Hightower guy that they were following.
Yeah, it was Allison's brother. Yeah, that was fucking leading the charge into Rook's Rest.
Because he got up and he was like, wait, like, where's my squad at? And then you hear what's his face, Gawain Hightower, like commanding the army.
Yeah.
And I think that really threw Kristen Cole off too. I feel like he's feeling like, oh shit, I'm like losing control of my army. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there's just a lot of cool. I think it's so good. Like the complexities of all the people and stuff that happens. I think it's a really good show.
And I think we also need to talk about how Maylis absolutely like fucked Vagar up too initially. Like Maylis almost won that 2-on-1. I do have to speak for my house, for my team here. We're kind of fucked right now. I don't know what we're doing. I really don't know what we're doing over here. Rhaenyra did her best. Yeah.
Sorry, just checking on my wife.
He just wanted to say wife.
You love to say your wife.
I do. I say it.
That's the only reason he walked away. But I think I don't understand what we're doing here on our side. Damon's losing his mind in Harrenhal. Doesn't have an army yet. Basically, the Greens are just collecting every single house that they can, doing it in a smart way, regardless of small castles, small families, whatever it is. There's more in numbers. I will say I do think the dragon fight scared the shit out of Sir Christian Cole. I don't think that, obviously it probably scared the shit out of everybody, but I don't think he realized what he was about to see. And I now am genuinely worried for my side, because our dragons are basically babies compared to the ones that are left. So I don't know. I still, to me, I'm still just so mind blown that Rhaenys basically went on the suicide mission, knowing she was going to go on the suicide mission. Thought it was really cool. Rhaenyra told Jace about the Song of Ice and Fire. And I'm hoping
cool? You thought that was cool?
I do, because that basically for me, trying to say it without people that haven't seen Game of Thrones, but unfortunately that scene kind of told me that I don't think her side's going to win, because if her side's the only side that knows that story, And in Game of Thrones, nobody knows that. It kind of makes you believe that Aemond and Alicent's side's going to win. I don't know. I'm just spitballing now, but I did think it was cool that she took him and actually he knows as much as she does now, and I really think we're going to see him escalate to a very high rank on that side of the aisle.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you there. I'm fine with like the Song of Ice and Fire, but at the same time, we know what it amounts to. And at that point, I'm just like, is this going to be every episode they're going to bring this up? You know what I mean? Like, because I think some Game of Thrones fans are going to be like, don't even.
R.I.P. to Game of Thrones.
Don't even bother. Man. Don't even bother saying it. Like, don't even bother.
Dude, we just rewatched season 8. Full open mind. Years have passed. I'm like, let me just enjoy the show. Still just it just still crushes me. The not to get off topic here. I'll go right back to House of the Dragon.
No.
But like,
let's stay here. No, let's stay here.
The build up to season 8 and just all the stuff that happened. You're just like frick, man. They just really did screw that up. Not even being one of those guys that's being a critic like everyone is these days, but it's like, oh my gosh, man, they just kind of really screwed everything up with season 8.
What do you think the worst? What do you think like the worst mistake they made was? Like, and we could be super generic about it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to name names, but like, what's the biggest mistake they made in season 8, or just like in general the ending of it?
Star Wars. Star Wars ruined it. Literally, the guys that were doing Game of Thrones rushed it, changed the story because of the Star Wars movies that they were never able to make.
And like, man, if I had to pick, I'm going to be me here for a second, but I'm going to pick 2 things. Jon Snow and the Night King just never fighting. 1. And then 2, just the way it panned out with who's the ruler. Like Bran being the king, them banishing Jon Snow. Like Sansa's like, oh, well, Winterfell's not a part of anything anymore. Like, it's just its own thing. Like, that whole thing just was, I don't know. I just thought, I don't know. All that buildup of Jon Snow being the goat of everything, and then he just gets banished. Like, at the end, he just gets banished to Beyond the Wall. And you're just like, what? Oh, man.
What I think the biggest issue is we get the song, we get told, like, what needs to happen. What needs to happen in order to defeat the greater enemy? Essentially, that doesn't happen because the realm is not united when it comes down to it for that fight. And they win anyway. And it happens in one episode.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck was the point? Like, what's the point? Because if the prophecy is supposed to be everything, that this whole story is the cause of what we're now seeing on House of the Dragon, we still have 2 more seasons to go of House of the Dragon, and then all of Game of Thrones to come as well. This whole prophecy coming, the greater enemy, yada, yada, yada. The greater enemy comes. There's still question on who the person should be, but regardless, the realm is not fully united. We don't have the 7 kingdoms all there. So how in the fuck did we win?
Yeah.
I fully agree. I fully agree. But here's also my argument to that, even though you are right. You're 1,000% right. I really honestly believe that if the Star Wars stuff did not happen, we would have had another season. Season 8 would have been more of the whole 7 kingdoms versus the White Walkers. The White Walkers would have stormed through that battle of Winterfell. Everybody would have had to retreat south, and then I really want to believe that there would have been a fight. I think the issue with what happened, which again I agree with your points, is that it was rushed. They had to rush the ending, which I think that all of us were surprised because we knew like there was no way after season 6, at least from our perspective, that there was only going to be 2 seasons left. There was too much stuff to happen, and they cut the episodes down. But I agree with you. You're right. The 7 kingdoms weren't united. There was only one fight that basically ended that whole thing, and then we just went back quickly to who's going to be the person that sits on the throne.
Yeah, and not even to freaking mention Daenerys just going mad and just killing everyone, just deciding, hey, I'm just going to light these little kids on fire. Like, what is that? You know, that whole thing was lame too. You know, like.
All right, I got a question. Mm-hmm. So we know that Hollywood doesn't know how to make new ideas, doesn't know how to make new types of shows. Do we see it? Do we see it in like 15, 10 years where everybody reunites, the same characters once they're older to make it more realistic? Do we see like a limited 2-3 season show where it does come back? We do get to see Jon, or do we think that it's done? Because there had to be a reason why the Snow Show wasn't made, and it can't be because they didn't think it wasn't going to make money. Like,
no, I swear Jon.
Show.
I swear Jon Snow said something like they couldn't like agree on what it was going to be about. Which, if that's true, like, I agree with Jon Snow. It's like, dude, I'm not coming back as Jon Snow if you make the story stupid. Which I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no source material. They got to make it up, and
yeah. So it's like,
I don't know what it would be. Frankly, I got pretty turned off by Jon Snow. I think he's a good actor. I think the character was sick at one point and then got soured towards the end.
Yeah,
and it's like, I think the world has seen, and it sucks for Kit Harington because I think he played a great Jon Snow, but it's like, I want to see Kit Harington. I don't want to see Jon Snow.
It's fair. Yeah. I mean, it's fair opinions. I do. There is a part of me though that would enjoy seeing it, but I agree with. Then I'm being hypocritical because we're always, or at least I'm always in the camp of like, sometimes you got to let things lie where they lie, even if it wasn't finished how everybody thought it was going to be finished. But I honestly, Tig, I didn't think about the whole Song of Ice and Fire thing in House of the Dragon. I didn't think about how that would kind of be a dampering mood killer topic, since we did actually get to see what happened. From Jace's perspective, I got excited because finally he's going to, he's going to rise up, and I hope he's the one that fucking gets Aemon or ends up fighting Aemon to avenge his brother. Regardless the outcome of that fight, it is what it is. But I'm hoping we get to see that down the line. But yeah, I truthfully never thought of it like that, and I get why that could be a watered down topic in House of the Dragon.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Because it's like they're telling this. We already know what happened, and everyone's pissed about how it happened, the ending. So it's like move on, like to maybe the one time Viserys told Rhaenyra cool, but like just kind of move on from that.
Yeah,
make it its own thing.
Yeah, I mean it's good symbolism. It's kind of like Rhaenyra. She has other kids, she has other children, and everyone knows that this isn't really like this is a bastard from the Strong. I forget it was a Robert Strong. I forget his name, but Harwin, whatever. But like it's kind of like Rhaenyra choosing her successor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's entrusting him with the secrets, and also Jace has grown up more than Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In 2.5 years, and they go back. I don't know if it was this episode or last episode. Alicent literally was like, Alicent kind of gave a timeline of what's all happened. It sounds like from season 1, or maybe Rhaenyra said it. It sounds like Rhaenyra said it when she came back.
But you're right with Alicent. Alicent says it in this latest.
It's been weeks. She
weeks.
says it's been weeks since my husband died or whatever.
Yeah. So it's like from season 1 to season 2, we are what? Maximum 3 months, I would say, you know what I mean? In between, like, and that's probably giving too much space because I don't know, after 2 months, I'm saying months. I'm not saying weeks anymore. So it's like, this has happened so quick. There's been so much turmoil. And I think where Game of Thrones was rushed, again, because there's no source material for the last 2 seasons, I don't think we'll ever see a replay of that unless George R. R. Martin actually finishes it. And from what it sounds like, he's so more interested in doing other things than what everyone wants him to do, which is whatever, it's his life. Just millions of people hate him. So, but right now we have all the source material. So I think they're expanding so much of it and kind of giving us new stories, which are super cool. And I think this will probably stand the test of time. I want to say longer, but maybe from like the critic and watch it and like rewatchability. I don't even know, but I think we might see. I don't even know how to say it, but it might be a better full show because we have the source material.
I get what you're saying,
and they're taking their time. Because I mean, we just saw Rhaenys die. The Targaryens, like you said, are already so low. Like. We're probably only going to see, and like you said, Sir Kristen Cole just realized how bad Dragon War is, you know? So they're going to hold off on that. We might see one battle that might not even be this intense the rest of the first season or the second season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure. We're already halfway through.
We're halfway through. And I heard this theory, and I don't know what you guys think. I don't know if it's even possible. It almost sounds stupid to bring up, but I heard it, so I want to bring it on. But we see the vision most recently with Daemon, and he's seeing himself. But that walk, and he's wearing the eye patch, that walk, 1,000% is Aemon's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it gets turned and it's him. And people are like, he doesn't even remember what Aemon looks like.
Oh, shit.
People were saying, what if somehow Aemon is Daemon's child? And that almost sounds stupid to even fucking bring up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I saw it on Twitter or I don't know if like my roommate Chase mentioned it or something like that. And we're not book readers or anything like that, but maybe he saw something online or something. And I don't like, I didn't hear this on another podcast or anything like that, but it's just like, it almost seems stupid to even bring up, but at the same time, it's like, is it?
Yeah. Cause look at Allison. Look at what she does now. Like,
yeah, but Allison would know, you know what I mean? Like, we've never seen anything where it's been like Daemon and Allison together. You know what I mean? Like, with the exception of Daemon took Allison's favor in the very first episode of season 1.
Whoa, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I do. The one part that I am kind of not understanding is like why Rhaenyra is haunting Daemon so much now. Like, I know the castle's haunted, and I know obviously he thinks he's the rightful heir because he was named the heir. If you look at the successions, it originally was going to be him, but it is yeah, dude. I mean, who knows? Like, I think, I don't know if that's foreshadowing they're going to be the big tango battle at the end of this season, but I tell you what, there is a lot of similarities between those two, and they are doing their absolute best to make them resemble each other, whether they're trying, which they obviously are or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What needs to happen, though? Someone on the black side needs to get that Vermithor where Daemon dropped down. Like, they need to get that dragon, or else no one's taking down Vhagar. Like, it's a wrap. It's LeBron in 2017. Like, there's no stopping him.
And I saw another thing, which I always love this stuff about the animals and stuff. It was a sad thing because Vhagar was Laena's dragon, and Maelys obviously is Rhaenys' dragon. And they said like the last time they saw each other, they were flying together like as friends.
Oh, you're right.
And then they fight and kill each other.
It is cool in a sense. Like, there's literally lore of the dragons. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that. I think that's awesome.
Know, in the book, like, we looked up that Helena's dragon is the one that houses the eggs for Dany, you know, and stuff like that. And you know, we learned that Sunfire, Aegon's dragon, is supposed to be the most like beautiful dragon, and it's supposed to be like kind of like a show dragon, and that was the first time it's ever saw in battle. Just that, you know, the last. I assume the dragon's gone, you know, that's kind of cool how like they're making the dragons more important. You can kind of dig into their history and stuff. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I agree. Really, I'm just really excited to see how they tie this season, how they tie a bow on this season, because I think everybody would agree that the Greens are just dominating right now. Like, and I will say, in terms of the episodes, this was the first episode to crack the top 10 of like the highest rated Throne episodes. And I found it kind of interesting that in Game of Thrones, I guess it would make sense because the build up, but a lot of the Game of Thrones ones on there are later seasons. Like you have the Battle of Blackwater in season 2, the Red Wedding in season 3, and then most of the other ones are like Harrenhal, Battle of the Bastards, the season
Hard
7.
Home.
Yeah, Hard Home, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just have to shout out this before I forget. One of the funniest Game of Thrones scenes of all time is Daemon just opening the door and he's being like, "I'm claiming Harrenhal."
Dude, I agree.
And
I
he
love.
literally
He's
just
like,
stands there. He's like, "I'm claiming Harrenhal," and the guy's like, I can't remember what he said. He's like, "I guess you are," or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so great.
I'm claiming Harrenhal. Love it.
Yeah, it's cool, and there's so much like magic now with that Alice girl and stuff. My cousin has read the books, and he says Alice is one of his favorite characters. He's like, I doubt they'll use her much in the show, but she's a very cool character and stuff. So, kind of going to see some witchcraft on her side. It's kind of cool. We got Helena on the green side, which we haven't seen in a minute really give anything ever since she lost her son. But it'll be interesting to see. I bet we get a Helena prediction later in the season, like probably foreshadowing.
Yeah.
We saw in this
Good.
episode just a tiny little bit of foreshadowing. My other roommate Troy, who hasn't even seen Game of Thrones, he didn't watch episode 1 or 2 of House of the Dragon, but he watched 3 and 4. And on last week's episode, Allison dropped that dragon, and he was like, "Oh, foreshadowing." And I was like, "Well," and then at the end, I'm like, "That's pretty good catch."
That is pretty good. Yeah. I was seeing stuff like when Helena looked at Allison and said, "I forgive you." Like that's going to end up being about something else.
Yeah, possibly in the future.
Yeah, like Allison really does, everything Helena says seems to be more than what it really is at the time.
Yeah. I think we kind of mentioned it. It's almost like she's not really aware of what like part of the timeline she's in almost. You know what I mean? Like she thinks she's in the future now, in the past, So I don't know. Maybe she's somehow part of the Three-Eyed Raven. That'd be a cool way to spin it off towards
Three-Eyed Raven.
end. That'd be cool. Raven. And then we see Alicent kind of searching for her late husband's books. And I think a lot of people are trying to make comments about, is she's looking for a way to help Aegon or maybe to like help her decision or something like that. I think she was looking inside a book to try and find if there's any written history of the Song of Ice and Fire.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
100%
cool
with that. Yeah, dude, I'm just so locked in. I never thought we'd also have a character that I hate as much as Joffrey and Ramsay as Sir Christian Cole. I mean, he sucks. He literally sucks so bad. And again, he has a right to be angry. I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to be angry. Crazy is calling her the whore queen. That's wild.
Yeah.
Every episode.
He gives her a new nickname every episode. What's he call her? The bitch queen.
Yeah. The Horde of Dragons.
What did he call her?
Yeah, the Horde of Dragons.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. And then he even called her something in the episode before.
And he called her a couple C bombs eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to get that raw on air, but
yeah. Oh God. But the thing is, he does suck so bad, but he's such a good character.
Oh,
like you hate him.
He's needed in this story.
Yeah, like he's such a he makes you want to watch so you can be like, oh, I freaking hate that guy. Just like you said, like a Joffrey or a Ramsay, like they're such good characters.
Which people are crazy. They're harassing the dude in real life like he's Sir Christian Cole. Like he had to deactivate all of his like accounts, which again, I think it's weird to let that's a whole nother story. But the fact that like people are attacking him like he's really Sir Christian Cole is banana land. It's a show, people. Just enjoy the show. You don't have to like a character, but I mean, he's just a man. He's just a man at the end of the day.
He might not be able. It's going to be tough for him to get another gig because people are going to be like, I mean, do we want to hire this guy? He was in the fucking Game of Thrones and everyone hates him and he had to deactivate his Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, are we going to have to deal with that bad publicity potentially? That's like, oh, we got this guy and he's a good actor.
It already happened with Joffrey. I've never seen Joffrey in anything because people hated him so much. I'm pretty sure he got harassed so much in real life that he probably quit acting. And same with Anakin, young Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, that sucks. And like, they both were so, and that should show a testament to how good their character and their role when they're playing it and stuff is. And it's cool to see the behind. Do you guys watch the like behind the scenes, like inside the episodes and stuff?
I haven't watched all of them. I think I only watched one of them.
Yeah, I don't really watch them, honestly. I should, but I don't.
Yeah, it's just cool to kind of get some insights. And then I actually do want to bring up one more thing from episode 3 because I was debating it a lot most recently. But it was cool to see, I think Emma Darcy is her name, the young Rhaenyra. And Millie Alcock. That's it. Yep. Emma Darcy's the older one. So Millie Alcock, she was kind of giving an interview of me like, oh, it was cool to sit on the Iron Throne. It was like it's a little lopsided, you know, but it was cool to be back and stuff. And she's like giggling at the camera, and then Matt Smith walks by, which is Damon. Walks by and he just goes like, don't listen to anything she says. And she turns around and like giggles. And I'm like, it's almost like this is young Rhaenyra and Damon and they're about to fuck right now. Like, honestly, like, I was getting those vibes and I was like, yeah, it was so strange, but they were just the actors. And I was like, it's insane how close some casts are. And like, you see all the behind the scenes. It's just super cool. Yeah, but I want to bring that up. I want to bring up one thing before I know we're kind of running along on time. But episode 3, it was the battle of the Eric and Eric, you know, Eric and or whatever. And who did you think won the fight initially? And like, what are your thoughts? Because I assume everyone probably knows what allegedly is supposed to happen, you know?
I had no clue who was winning. Until the end, I was like, oh, okay, that's the good one. Like when he said my queen or whatever, I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay, so the good guy won. Me and Jake talked about it. Did we talked about this on? I can't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, we talked about, yeah.
But no, it's fine. And I just was like, oh, he killed himself. One, because he can't live without his brother. Like they talk about in that show. Like they feel like they're one soul in two bodies. But 2, I feel like they were going to have to kill him anyway because they weren't really going to know who was who because they are just truly identical. So he's like, oh, I'm going to get killed anyway. So he just did it himself. That's what I thought.
Yeah, see, for me, I believe that story now. But originally, I thought the bad one won. And I thought the reason he killed himself was because he knew he was going to get killed anyways. I guess with the whole my queen thing, I understand the argument and then I'm on the other side now of what JT said, but I then think back to it and I think, was he saying my queen because he knew inwardly he fucked up and chose the wrong side and that's why he killed himself? Now, I don't believe that anymore. I could be convinced and swayed back that way if there was some more like detailed evidence, which I don't think there is, but that was my initial take from that fight.
Yeah. So I will say out that the directors and the showrunners have come forward and said like the good Eric E won. And some people even commented on Reddit was like, it's him. And you want to know the why? It's because it's the actor that plays him and stuff. And like the actor has come forward and said that. I think the show choreography, I don't know if they deleted too many scenes or if their intention was to literally trick the audience.
I think it was.
And again, that's all right, I guess, but it's kind of like, why are you trying to gotcha the audience? You know, like, I mean, so they made initially the fight happens, you know, good Eric gets in front of Ramirez blocking, and bad Eric slices good Eric's knee. And the only reason why, this is after the switch, like after they're staring at each other, so you're not actually sure. The only reason why we know is after his knee gets cut, he's diving in front of Rhaenyra to save her right after. And that's the same knee that gets grabbed to push that guy off, and that is the same guy that dies. So just those pieces alone, you're like, oh, the good Eric should have won. And I thought bad Eric was like, you know, I think he said your grace, or maybe he said my queen or whatever, but like regardless, I think in my mind, I thought the bad Eric killed himself because he kind of mentioned when he came in, he was like, this wasn't my idea. You know, like I didn't want to do this. I never wanted to do this. You know, I'm just here to serve the realm. And right now they're on the throne, and that's why. So like, you know, you're your grace. We got 2 kings or queens or whatever. It's like, you know, but like you're saying, he's not making it out alive. He just had to kill his brother. I think a lot goes into it. But I had an argument with my roommate Chase about it because he was like, no, it's the other way. And I was like, I'm watching the fight, and we're watching the fight. And even he was like, when you watch the fight, it makes it seem like bad Eric wins. And I keep saying bad Eric. It's Allison's Eric, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting though, because that's what I thought. Like, and that was my first original takeaway from the episode. I do agree with the knee slice. You know, we do see the fingers going. Like there is more visual evidence for good Eric winning, or Team Black Eric winning versus Team Green Eric winning. But I originally thought, I was like, dang, Green won, knew he was going to die anyways, maybe had a second thought of like, wow, I just killed my brother because I just chose this side, taking the quote unquote easy way out and not sticking with my brother and what King Viserys wanted. It is an interesting back and forth, and you know, whether the director says this, the actor says that, I do think this is going to be one of those episodes always that people will still think that the bad one won.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like leaving it open for opinion, honestly. And I honestly wish the showrunner wouldn't have even came and said the good guy, like Rhaenyra's 1-1, because at the same point, I'm like, I think these fucking showrunners fucked up. I think they fucked up the shots, and I think they added them up so it makes it look like the bad guy, maybe to trick us. Maybe they just fucked up, and now they're trying to save their aspect. No, good one. Obviously the actor is the one standing there, but I think it's like, hey, leave it up for interpretation, whatever you think. I think that could have been cool, a little choose your own adventure, because in the end, it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't know why we're arguing about 2 members of the Kings and Queens Guard that literally don't matter at all. But I think the fact that so many people love this show, and we get talked, and we're bringing it up, like Sir Kristen Cole's literally getting berated and harassed online. It's like so many people love this show. They love this realm, and they're so passionate about it. And I think that's cool, as long as you're super respectful on both sides. And I feel like we are pretty respectful on both sides about it, even though we're on different sides.
Quick question, and then we can put a bell on it. Mm-hmm. Do we really think that guy is a Targaryen, and he is brothers with Daemon and Viserys?
Well, I told you, they introduced another guy in the little house with his wife that was an older guy who had long blonde hair, and that was the last time we ever saw him.
That was like the
black, like episode guy, right? 1 or something. Yeah, so I'm thinking that those 2 guys are brothers, and they actually are Targaryen bastards. That's what I'm thinking.
The blacksmiths and that guy?
Because it is interesting that they're not hiding the hair color. They're not hiding the hairstyle. They didn't hide at all that guy was like, I'm brothers with these guys. And I agree with JT. Like, we talked about this at the beach. I'm fully convinced that blacksmith's a Targaryen more than the other guy.
He looks more Targaryen.
He's got the hair. He's like, I don't know. So it would make sense, because why would they introduce Corlys's bastards if there's not other bastards on the Targaryen side? That's kind of how I look at it.
I mean, this is crazy. We're about to see another battle of the bastards.
Yeah. Whoa.
I mean, 200 years in the future, or 200 years. Yeah. 200 years in the past. Yeah. But
same time.
I think that's a good thought. I didn't really think much of that scene. And it's like, is there actually truth to that? And I never really thought the blacksmith could have been a Targaryen either. And you guys are putting thoughts in my head. So that's kind of cool. That just things, you don't catch. And probably the things you don't catch are going to be the most important things, as we see, So I think that's
and we know it's Thrones. Like, we know that this is stuff that they do. Because let's call it what it is. I think all of us, I'm comfortable saying this with all of us, we didn't just think it was going to be Aegon, Aemond, and the Hightowers versus Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, and the Valerians. Like, there's got to be other avenues that come into this story, and it would. I'm not fully convinced on that one, on either of them, but it would make sense since they are introducing ones on Corlys' side. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I guess we will see. All right, gotta go. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.
All right.